The SEC ACC Men's Basketball Challenge has been revealed. We got dates, we got matchups, and I ain't gonna lie, it didn't cooked up yet again. Let's talk about it today on the show. All right, what's going on, y'all, man? Welcome back to the show. Appreciate y'all tuning in as always, man. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and you hype up the video. You know what I'm saying? Today we're talking a little bit more hoops. We still, like I said, football is the main thing, the main course meal, the main engine of this channel, man. But we got to get in tune with hoops. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all. One of my favorite part about hoops is definitely the college basketball level. It's always been fun to watch since I've been a kid. So we're gonna have more college basketball coverage too on the channel. It won't trump football. You know what I'm saying? It won't trump football, but we will have more content and stuff on the channel, especially with big news announcements like this or big commitment, obviously with Georgia Tech as well. And so many more schools. I don't know what schools I'll focus on as far as hoops goes, but I will definitely be doing more content on college basketball because it's one of the top sports, obviously, in the world, in my opinion. That and college football. I think college football's one. College basketball for me will probably rank around 3. NFL, there's nothing that trumps NFL. I love NFL. NFL is like number 2 for me. So that's how I rank it. But today we're talking SEC men's basketball challenge along with the ACC. And like I said in my previous video, remember for this challenge, right? SEC won this 9-7 last year, but the competition was a whole lot better, right? This was not a cakewalk for the SEC, right? They had to really go and earn it, right? And it came down to that final night when Mississippi State beat Georgia Tech, and we've seen a couple ACC teams fall, right? But when you look at the investment of all of these programs in these schools before we talk about the matchups, right? It'll be very intriguing because Louisville spent a lot of money. Texas spent a lot of money, right? Miami got some big time recruits coming in. They brought back 5-star Sheldon Henderson. They brought in Samoto Cyril, right? All these teams made some big time moves this past year to make their teams a whole lot better, right? And an investment into the program moving forward. North Carolina has a new head coach and Mike Malone, who started and had good success with the different nuggets in the NBA, right? So they're going to look different. Arkansas probably has one of the best classes in terms of the portal and recruiting that you're going to probably find, right? So there's so many intriguing things to talk about when we break down these matchups and we break down some of these teams, right? So the first one I'm not too worried about. Like I said, I'm just going to focus on like the top matchups of this SEC Men's Basketball Challenge. Boston College, Georgia doesn't really move the needle for me, in my humble opinion. Like that's just going to be what it is. That doesn't really give me a pause to cause or like. I think the next one is very intriguing. Clemson and Auburn. Right now, for Auburn, they had a disappointing season last year, right? And when you break up what they brought in the portal, they had the number 32 class in the portal. They brought in George Kimball III from Vandy. They brought in Adam Olson from South Alabama. They brought in Thomas Dow from Troy. Remember, he played under Coach Scott Cross, 4-star prospect in the portal. Owen Freeman and then Bucky Obioe as well. Excuse me. So that's kind of how they're looking in terms of the class. In terms of commits, right? They got Caleb Williams, Narkis Nagoy, and Mantis Robostavicius. Sorry if I said his name wrong. That's a tough name to say, right? So Auburn's a team like I don't really know what they're going to be, right? Last year was the year to take a step forward. It was Steve Pearl first year on the job. Bruce Pearl retires in the offseason, and they didn't have their best season. They got better as the year wore on, but we don't know what Auburn is going to be, right? So that part there is a little bit concerning for me, right? So that's number one. I don't know how good Auburn's going to be, right? When I think about Clemson and I think about them as a program, right? They're pretty much I don't want to say stable program in the ACC, but they're usually pretty good, right? We look at the commitments that they're able to usually bring in and things like that, right? So they're going to bring in Amari James, Harris Reynolds, right? So a predominantly Georgia-led team coming in as far as commits, and then Will Stevens, the power forward, who is a 3-star prospect, right? In terms of transfers, right? David Fuchs comes over from San Francisco. Louis Torres Lavicius comes in from TCU. Dylan Faulkner comes in from Calhoun, or excuse me, Sanford. And then Cole Serta. Now, he's a pretty good player, right? So that was probably Clemson's best guy was getting Cole Serta. That guy can fill it up. We see him go off for 35, 40-plus points in a game. coming over from Notre Dame. So Clemson is going to be interesting. So that one brings a little bit of intrigue into this matchup between those two teams, right, with what they're bringing in. Then you got two of the best teams, right? This is probably the best matchup of the entire SEC ACC men's basketball challenge when you talk about Duke and Florida, right? Duke is a team that brought back a couple of players, Patrick Gomba, obviously they bring back this year Caleb Foster, they bring back Caden Boozer and things like that. But then they have a whole new class coming in, bunch of five-star prospects. Florida's another team that brought they're bringing back a lot of their players, right? A lot of players are coming back for another year with Florida once again. Some are going to the league, but some are coming back. And for Florida, it was a successful season. They didn't win a natty, but they did what they were supposed to do. They turned things around after a rough start to the season. You got to believe in their head coach, Todd Golden. So that's going to be a marquee matchup, I think, and a really good one with Florida hosting Duke. I think that's easily by far the best matchup of all this. Florida State's an interesting team, still kind of a little bit of a rebuild, still figuring some different things out. We'll see if they can take a step forward this year. Tennessee's a team, they invested heavily, right? So when I bring this up, like Tennessee was a team that they went like Texas and they spent money in this portal, right? So for Tennessee, they're a team they want to get over the hump, right? They are a team that wants to get past that Elite Eight bracket, right? Because they always fall for whatever reason there, right? But when you look at their commits, they have a top 24 class. Brought in Chris Washington Jr. Remember, he was previously committed to Alabama, so he was a really good prospect. Ralph Scott from IMG, he's another really good one, four-star prospect. Manny Green's a little bit underrated here in my humble opinion as a three-star. He's really a four-star prospect. And I've seen this kid up close and personal. Kid can take over games. Long, athletic wing, 6'6", 205. The kid is explosive. And you brought in Marquise Clark as well. So you got four really good commits coming in here in the top 25 class. Now, what gets interesting for them, and I think it's a little underrated having a number 23 portal class, they brought in some dogs, right? They brought in Chris Furman. They brought in Juke Harris. Juke Harris is going to be an instant contributor for this team and a high volume, high elite scorer. Braden Lou gives you that little bit of tenacity on the inside. 6'9", 235, explosive, right? Has played D1 ball for a little minute now, right? Comes over from Alexander High School in Douglasville, Georgia, right? Previously before going to Kennesaw State. Terrence Hill Jr. is another big time get for you coming over from VCU. You got Jalen Harrelson, another big time commit coming over from Notre Dame. Miles Rubin, right? Day Ames coming over from California. We saw what he did last year. He tore it up as a point guard, right? Being able to score at a high end level. Tyler Lundblade as well, playing that shooting guard role. So this team is deep and this team is loaded. So I definitely believe they're going to have their work cut out for them because they're absolutely loaded and they have a pretty good program. So I think I would get a nod there to Tennessee. Now the next one is interesting because then you got something in my eye. Then you got Louisville and Texas, right? That's another matchup. You're like, okay, whoa, right? Like this team is good. I feel pretty good about this team. I think they can do a whole bunch of different things because Louisville was also a team, guys, that invested heavily into the transfer portal, right? And as we pull up what they were able to do, they had the number 11 transfer portal class, right? Brought in Gabe Dines, brought in Deshane Montgomery, brought in Alvaro Fulgueras, but the names that really make it pop is a Carter Knox, right? He comes in now. He was, great. It was an interesting transfer because you didn't think he would leave Coach Calipari, right? But I guess he's looking at his career. He's like, well, look, man, I've been in college basketball for 2 years now. I got to start making that move so I can get to the league, right? That's kind of why he returned after his freshman season, right? You got Jackson Schill. Then you got Floyd Badunga. That was the biggest one. Big 12, Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. Did a whole bunch of different things. A hefty price to pay for Floyd Badunga, in my humble opinion. But if you're Louisville, you got to go all in. So those are the two that stands out. And in the top 20 national class as well, with Isaac Ellis coming in, and he also got Obina Akizi as well. So Louisville should be right back in that conversation. They should be a very good team this upcoming year, right? And then the last one you want to look at Texas. Texas also spent heavily in that portal, right? Texas didn't play no games when you look at it. Top 20 class, I think Bo Ogden is going to be an instant contributor. He's going to be probably one of the top freshmen in the country, in my humble opinion. That kid can go. Austin Gooseby is another really good player as a wing. So both of those guys, I think, should be instant contributors for them. And then look at the transfer class, number 2 in the country. All right, number 2 in the country. So they brought in a lot of athletes, a lot of explosive players, right? Elijah Freeman from Auburn should be able to help. Amari Evans comes over from Tennessee, another player that's looking for a shot and looking to improve. Isaiah Johnson, right? David Punch. Like this team is going to be very good. So that's another high quality matchup, in my humble opinion, between those two teams, right? So I think I would rank it Duke, Auburn, or Duke, Florida at number one. I think number two, I would go North Carolina and Arkansas. There's so much intrigue there with Mike Malone coming over, new team, new regime. What is he going to be able to do? I think that's going to be very interesting to see. And I would go number three, Louisville, Texas, because both of those teams spent heavy in the portal, brought in new prospects and players, and should be much better moving forward, right? Now, North Carolina, Arkansas go into that matchup, right? Arkansas this is probably one of the best classes he's had in quite some time, right? You look at Mika Miranin, that was a big time get for him. He was rumored to go to North Carolina. You brought you obviously have Abdul Thiero. Like Arkansas is absolutely loaded. I'm gonna show you guys here, so just so you can see what this class. I think they have one of the top tier classes in the country, and I think if you are Coach Calipari, you're betting on youth here. They have a 98.24 score for obviously their freshmen, their commits, right? Jordan Smith Jr., 5-star, number 3 player in the country, shooting guard. Abdul Torre, right? He's a top 12 player nationally. JJ Andrews, right? Top 20 nationally. And then you brought in Mika Miranin as well. So you got 4 players that are in the top 20 nationally for this class, just in freshmen alone. If you Coach Cal, like you cooked, right? You absolutely cooked. And all these guys are expected to contribute and help you out, right? So I feel like number 56 portal class. Now he brought in a pretty good prospect in Jeremiah Wilkinson who can fill it up at the point guard spot, right? Has played at California, now Georgia, and he does everything you need him to do. But now he's going to be your quintessential point guard going forward. What obviously we know about Darius A. Cuff going to the NBA, so on and so forth. I think DJ Wagner leaving as well, right? But Calipari literally brought back, okay, I'm going to bring back the majority of my roster as much as I can. And I only got 2 transfers, and I'm investing heavily into these freshmen again. So it's going to be interesting. Is that enough to help this team win games? Is that enough to help them get to a certain spot in the NCAA tournament? That part I don't know, because Calipari has always been known as a heavy investor into the portal. I mean, not the portal, into the freshman class. But is it enough for you in order to make a difference? I don't know. But this class, I will say, this is one of his best classes as a coach recruiting. Right? I know he's had top tier classes at Kentucky, but this class is special. 4 top 20 national recruits. Damn. You know what I'm saying? Damn. All right. So their matchup is North Carolina, right? So I want to talk about them a little bit because they're a new look team, right? Transfer portal class. Let's see, portal ending, got 6 guys in. Cade Benderman, who comes over from North Carolina. He was pretty good when he was obviously younger, playing in high school. Matt Abel comes over from NC State. Terrence Brown should be a really good player for them. He comes over from Utah. Isaiah Dennis. They brought in Neokilis Avadalis. That's gonna be the game changer for them because he's 6'7", 6'8", and he'll probably be on the wing. He could score the basketball at a high level. He's gonna be one to watch because he filled it up last year for Virginia Tech and he transferred into the ACC. So that was a big time get for them. He's obviously very expensive, NIL of $1.2 million, but he's gonna be one to watch to see his growth and development. All right, and then Jaden Young obviously withdrew. Now, as far as high school commits, number 17 class, they brought in Malloy Smith from Mater Dei. They brought in Maximo Adams, Sayon Kita, Kevin Thomas, and then Alexandros Samadurov. Okay, so that's what they kind of got going, right? But the names to know, I think, is going to be obviously Neokilis Avadalis. We know how good he was last year in the ACC. And I definitely think Terrence Brown are going to be my 2 names to watch for them. So that will be a very interesting game, to say the least, to see who comes out on top. But I think that's the number 2 game. Like North Carolina, Arkansas, with everything they got, the freshmen, that'll be a very intriguing game. Got North Carolina State versus South Carolina. Pitt at Missouri. Not too really worried about that one. Syracuse, Oklahoma has some potential. Obviously, this should be the year that Kion Anthony takes a big step forward for Syracuse. They got a new look team and kind of a roster, right? Nate George ended up leaving and going to Pittsburgh, I think, as well. So Syracuse is a team that's looking to take a step forward. They'll be very interested, to say the least. And then Ole Miss had a disappointing year under Chris Beard. Can they take another step forward? Right? Virginia Tech lost their best player in Neokilis Abadalis, as we talked about. How will this team look next season? Can it make some more noise? Can it get off the bubble? And can Ole Miss win with losing some of their top assistant coaches? That's the biggest question. I already talked about Georgia Tech versus Mississippi State. That'll be that second day. So y'all go check out that video. I broke all that down and gave my thoughts as well for that one. I think another elite game will be Miami, Alabama. Right? Look at everything Miami got. And Alabama and the Crimson Tide. Those are 2 teams that haven't been known predominantly for basketball, but over the last little bit, they've definitely taken that step forward, right? So when you look at the Hurricanes, right, this is another team that spent a lot in the portal, right? Did what they were supposed to do. They have the number 7 portal class when we break it all down, right? They brought in Brent Bland. He comes over from, I don't know what school that is. St. Peter's. Okay, I've never seen their logo. St. Peter's, right? Nick Doran from Indiana, right? You also got Quentin, looks like Quentin Berger from Bucknell, Deshaun Good from RMU, right? The 2 key players that everybody needs to know that they got is a Caden Lewis, right? He's gonna be your quintessential point guard. He comes over from Villanova, played a lot as a true freshman, right? Can fill up the basketball. You pair him now because you got obviously lose your senior point guard that you had last year. He's a young buck, so you put him in there, and then you put him alongside Sheldon Henderson. You feel pretty good. And then in the center, in the interior, you got Samoa Shiro, who has a lot of potential. You paid a hefty bag for him, $1.29 million or $1.9 million. That's hefty, but he gives you that enforcer. He gives you that guy that can block shots, that can rotate, that can rim run, right? You're going to need that if you're Miami. So they really prioritize the portal, right? And how they went about it. And they only got 2 guys, obviously, from, excuse me, sorry, y'all. They got 2 guys from the freshman class, right? Caleb Gaskins, 5-star prospect, top 11 nationally, and then Chris Burden as well, right? So he's expected to be a contributor. We'll see if he starts as a true freshman, right? But the heavy investment for Miami was in the portal, right? So everybody's different, right? Arkansas went truly high-end freshman, a little bit in the portal. Miami went heavy portal, and then only a couple of freshmen, right? And then you look at their opponent in the SEC, they're going to play Alabama, right? Now, say what you want, but Nate Oats has been doing the damn thing, right? They've always been competitive, always been a good team and a good roster. Number 4 class overall, only 3 commits, but you brought in some of the top commits in the country, right? Jackson Richardson comes over from Southeastern Prep, 6'6", 200 pounds. Terrace Bowie, right? He comes over from Spire Academy, right? Small forward, top 50 nationally. And then Caden Samuels, he comes over from Bishop McNamara, comes over 4 years, a 4-star prospect, right? So that's what you brought in. Now transfers, right? Not so good, right? Number 74, Drew Fielder comes in over from Boise State. I remember getting him. He's a goer. Chloe Kluwer, that kid can fill it up at the small forward spot. A really good pickup for you. Jamarian Davis Fleming is another really good player at the power forward spot. Should be able to bring some things defensively and on the offensive side of the ball. And then Brandon Garrison. But again, you see the investment, right, is in the freshmen, right? They brought in 3 high-end freshmen for this team. So that should be able to help them out a whole bunch. And then obviously they brought in some guys from the portal, but they weren't high-end guys. So he's kind of more so going high-end freshmen, some good veterans, and then obviously whatever we bring back to the roster and to the team, right? But like I said, it's a marquee matchup, right? That's going to be top tier, Miami and Bama, because that definitely will have, some quad 1 win type of things. And if you're Miami, you want to follow up a good season under your head coach that you had last year, right? Then you got Notre Dame, Vanderbilt. That one, I mean, Vanderbilt's really good. Vanderbilt had a good season last year. Let me not front. Vanderbilt had a good season. Can they follow that up with another better season? So that was a little intriguing. I'm not gonna sleep on that matchup. But Notre Dame lose Cole Serta. How good would the Fighting Irish be next season? We got to see. Stanford, Texas A&M. That one doesn't really wow me too much. I know they had a Buko Corey who's really good. I believe he transferred as well. I don't believe he's no longer there. So that was interesting. But the best one that day is Virginia, Kentucky. 2 blue bloods. Virginia's a team that brought back the majority of their roster. Chance Mallory, Johan Grunlow, Tess DeRitter, Sam Lewis, and they went and got 4 guys out of the portal, Jorian Dixon, right, and several other guys to be able to help complete this roster. And they recently just got a transfer as well. Kentucky went and they got probably one of the top guys from Iowa State, right? Power forward, can do a whole bunch of different things. He's going to be coming over and should be able to help them out a whole bunch, right? And if you're Kentucky, you got a lot of guys going out, right? No more Jasper Johnson, right? No more Denzel Aberdeen, right? Now you got guys like Zoom Diallo coming in there, right? And those type of a players. So if you're Kentucky, this is a team like you spent $20 million on that roster last year, and it didn't quite pan out to how you wanted. You struggled. You did get into the tournament, but you went 22-14 and you lost in the second round of the postseason, all right, or the tournament, and you ended up falling to Iowa State, right? So if you're Kentucky, you got to be much better this year, right? I don't want to say Coach Mark Pope's job is on the line, but that seat is getting hot, right? So if you're Kentucky, you got to take a step forward this year and be a much better program. So those are 2 teams usually universally recognized as really good programs in college basketball. When you think about Virginia and Kentucky and the history, right? And I know Virginia only has that one, I think, NCAA championship, but those are two teams you think about, especially here in recent memory. So those are my top matchups. Number one, Duke, Florida. North Carolina, Arkansas would be my number two. I would go Virginia, Kentucky, 3, 4, Louisville, and obviously Texas, and then 5, Miami and Alabama. Those would be my top tier matchups, obviously, of this list, man. So that's my thoughts. That's my thoughts on the SEC men's basketball challenge. Should be a lot of fun. Should be fun with college hoops. Like I said, I would try to follow as much as I can. A little bit of recruiting here and there, and obviously college basketball season because I love college basketball. NBA, we'll cover on the show on Thursdays, man. You know how NBA goes. I covered a little bit more, obviously, on my TikTok channel and things like that. You know, game's not the same, but try to cover as much as I can, man. But yeah, just try to give you guys a little bit of a different feel, a little bit different things to cover, here, man, and continue to switch it up. But the main thing, as I always say, is college football, right? We love college football. We love high school football and recruiting. So that will be the main thing. But we're going to also sprinkle in there a little bit of college basketball, too, for that audience, man. And continue to try to grow and expand this thing, man. I love both sports. And I want to be able to cover both, man, and give the audience a really, really cool thing to talk about. So that's all I got. Like, comment, subscribe, hype up the video. And always know, it's peace and